anything that's like not exactly money making activity, but rather things that are kind of increasing your knowledge base and adding systems and just leveling up yourself. So I'm constantly working on my business and on ways to improve it.
Hello, agentpreneurs, and welcome back to the Daily List Report. As you saw, we've got Kenny Truong back on the show today. He's been a regular on this program. Love watching what he does with building his brand. Check out his previous episodes with us. The links are below. Super active on social media. Today we're doing another day in the life, and this one's going to be really interesting because Kenny is everywhere all the time. And I can prove it to you because this guy's got like 20 stories a day, so you always know where this guy's at. And I think he has a really interesting philosophy on all of those things. Of course, while you're here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Click that little subscribe button and the bell to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. And I've got up on the screen right now Kenny's Instagram. Definitely give him a follow. You're going to learn a ton from this, and also his website at kennytruong.com. Definitely check that out. All of those links are below. All right. Without further ado, let's bring Kenny back on the show. Kenny, welcome back to the Daily List Report.
So Ryan, thanks for having me back so soon. When was the last one? I forgot.
I think it's only been a few months. I don't know, but it took me like 3 months to book you, man, because you're so busy. Anyways, hey, Kenny. All right, so we're going to talk today a little bit about a day in the life of Kenny. So, this is something that's been really interesting for our agents to see how other top agents sort of operate their daily routine. So, let's get started at the beginning. You're up in the Bay Area. You're in the East Bay. You're the king of the East Bay. And we'll talk a little bit, but that's expanding now, right? That's changed in some really positive ways. But let's get started there, Kenny. How do you start your day? What do you do first thing in the morning? When do you even wake up?
Changing my routine quite a bit in the last couple of months. I wake up every day on average about 6:30. First thing I do is grab my phone, but the first thing I do when I grab my phone is I immediately turn on my Calm app to meditate. So I do that, just whatever the daily thing is, about 10 minutes. Because I heard, you've heard it for a lot of people, it's bad to just get right to work.
Yes.
So, but I grab it, just get that out of the way. But it really does help kind of open your mind and just where it's clear headed, and then you can start your day however it is. So that's how I start my day. But almost every single day of the week, between 8 or 9-ish, I have multiple Zoom meetings. Because right now we have our Monday script and role play with my director of sales and coaching. ESPM with ESP, they do like a monthly update on Mondays at 8. And then on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, I have a coaching call with my business coach. Coaching is at 8:30. And then leadership huddle is at 9 to 10. And then we have our company team meeting at 10:30, 11:30. And Wednesday, same thing with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have scripted role play. And then Thursday morning, I have an accountability group. And then Friday morning, I also have a couple different meetings. Because within this company that we've grown now, we have 6 mini teams. We call them squads. So we frequently try to get on as many other of our squad team meetings, typically in the morning.
Interesting. So, Kenny, what I want to point out there, right, and definitely make sure our guests understand, is that you're undergoing a massive amount of growth, right? You've brought on a ton new agents, so I think that context matters, right? You're not an individual producer, though you are a heavy producer. Talk a little bit about the context of what's going on in your life right now and how that maybe has impacted your schedule.
Yeah, since last March to now, we've grown our team. Last March, I think we had about like 15 agents on our team, but now we're floating around 120. We added close to 40 just this year alone in Q1. So like within the last 3 months. So like my role has changed a lot since in the last year. I'm mostly out of so production and selling, right? So production is when you still hit the numbers, but you're not out on appointments. Selling, it's client meeting. So I'm not really in front of that many clients anymore. I'm probably working with 5 clients right now that are on the buy side and maybe 3 sellers directly. Although my name's on some contracts, I still work closely with my partners. A lot of them are leading it. Within our company of about 120 agents, I have approximately 50 people on my team on a 50-50 split to start. I'm still on those contracts for most part, and that has a sliding scale structure. And then we built this company also with another 70 independent agents. So now at HP Realty, we're kind of running fast real estate brokerage within brokerage, but because of the scale, now we have teams within our brokerage. But technically it's teams within our team. And then with the 50 agents I have on my team side, I also have like what I call SWAT team, the people with experience, or usually people I couple like maybe like 10 of them that I send most of my referral deals to. And then that's so my SWAT team, my team at Indies, and then we have this other thing we just released about 5 weeks ago called squads. Squads are created teams with 6 different team leaders with 5 agents each on each of those teams. And then that's a high accountability because we're a Zillow Flex partner. We're actually the East Bay very first Zillow Flex partner. That's been really great for our business. But then the level of accountability is really hard to track. So on these squad meetings, which my director of sales and I almost like hop on off them. The agents are kind of leading those meetings, holding accountability, checking in for the week, playing back calls, critiquing it, and giving pointers for the week. So we try to hop on meetings and observe more than we talk. We want the squad leaders to kind of level up, and we've been really promoting the book 5 Levels of Leadership so they can understand that. So we're kind of trying to groom our agents into becoming leaders.
Absolutely.
And there's a quarterly contest.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. There's a quarterly contest.
Yeah, so we're doing this by the quarter. We're flipping on the squad right now. We're doing like cash prizes, quite a really big prizes for all the winners. Everyone wins, but it's just how much they win.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great. Right. So you're going through this crazy time. It sounds like a lot of this is, organizational, leadership, training, coaching, mentorship, all of that. So you're getting up around 6:30. You're doing your meditation first. I got to tell you, for me, it's super hard to grab my phone and only do that, right? I'm always so tempted to do other things. But it sounds like you get started on most days pretty early just in meetings, right? You're on Zoom 8:30 in the morning and you're off to the races. What does the rest of your day look like? Do you chunk it? Do you block it outside of your meetings? How do you focus the rest of your day?
Most of my days, so I color code my calendar by default. It just by default on my calendar settings. Things are blue, and then if I'm just working at my home office or one of my offices or a client interaction meeting or stuff like that, it's blue. And then if it's like webinars like this or training or team meetings or recruiting meetings, anything that's like not exactly money making activity but rather things that are kind of increasing your knowledge base and adding systems and just leveling up yourself, those things are green. I would say probably over half my calendar is green. So I'm constantly working on my business and on ways to improve it. Because at this point, like when you have 100 something agents, it doesn't even make financial sense to go out and sell a house because there's the ROI. I know exactly what the ROI is on if I sell a house by the hour. But what if I jump in more meetings and help 100 something agents in my company? I'll just increase your business by 1%, like just level up. So I spend most of my time on that. Besides the squad meetings, I'm pretty heavy in recruiting meetings. I've had over 140 recruiting meetings this year already. Yeah. 9 were in person, the other like 130ish were on Zoom. So my calendar is interesting because my entire team has my calendar. So people need something, they know where to grab it. So I have 2 calendars. My personal email, my work email is calendar, but there's a separate calendar. One thing I learned too this year is if you create a separate calendar, there's no owner of that calendar. You can set multiple email addresses to be the owner of a calendar. So I didn't know when I came over to ESP for my last company, so I lost my entire calendar. I had to download it, upload it, so I lost all the color coding. But I thought that's pretty interesting that you could make a new calendar and share that. And when people try to invite you to something, it goes on your personal calendar, but not your secondary one. So on the first one, oftentimes I just put off. Like that's it. No explanation needed, just off. But on my work calendar, everyone has access to it. And then I also use Calendly a lot. So there's 2 links I use pretty often on Calendly. You can do this with bit.ly too, because example, bit.ly Zoom Arena or bit.ly Zoom Alliance is my leadership team's private Zoom rooms. On Zoom, you can set a 10-digit code, which is I just pick my phone number. So you have the same Zoom link every single time. But for me, it's zoomwithkenny.com. This is where everyone goes to be with me. Our team meetings, recruiting meetings, and such. But callkennyfast.com is to book me for a 30-minute meeting. Zoomfastaf.com is 15-minute meeting. So, and then on Calendly, you can also create buffers too. So if someone books me for a certain time slot, there's not gonna be anything before or after that for 15 minutes. So I don't rush into their meeting. So a lot of my calendar throughout the week is mostly people just booking me for times. So if I'm having a conversation about something, someone wants to grab quick mastermind networking, boom, here's the link. So throughout the week, it's just random things pop up and I go throughout my day. I don't spend that much time booking my calendar out because I let people pick the time and show up.
Interesting. It makes a lot of sense, right? You really live up to the name Fast Agent, right? You're just running from thing to thing to thing, it sounds like. A couple things you said there. One is I had a guest on, Camille Rose. She did a bunch of episodes with me. She's a peak performance coach. And she said something really important. She said, your calendar reflects your priorities. And so I like what you're talking about, how you do this color coding, because it's probably a way for you to easily look at your calendar and get a sense for if you're spending time in the right types of activities in the right areas. And that's really critical. The
Yeah.
second thing, oh, go ahead, Kenny.
Oh, and then like I have orange for personal time and hanging out. Like there's some orange on each day, and the yellow is like the meditate, the workout, the errands and stuff. So like yesterday, I took the almost pretty much the entire. I was on Instagram for like 4 or 5 hours a morning, creating content, but I didn't work yesterday that much. And then like I looked at my calendar, I could tell that this is actually my first Sunday off in 6 weeks. I was like, I haven't just sat there before, so I was like, you know what, I deserve it because I my calendar clearly shows I haven't had a Sunday off, and now
Yeah,
it's good. So I'll be good for another like 2 months.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
also vacation coming up.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's important. That's important. The other thing, just in case people aren't using it, is Calendly. I mean, what a great tool. It makes it super efficient. So you're not spending your time going back and forth, like, when are you free? Oh, I'm not free here. Or obviously you could have an assistant do it, but Calendly makes it so easy. And as you said, you can create those buffers so you don't have to worry about if a call runs over a few minutes or you got to use the bathroom, whatever, right? You can make it super easy. And I actually like your tip around Zoom and really standardizing that with your team, because then you don't have this issue where people are like, oh, is it the wrong link or the wrong links in the invite or whatever. If you're going to meet with Kenny, here's where you go every single time. It makes it super easy. You know, Kenny, and I'm gonna pull up a few examples right now just of like some of your stories, right? You use Instagram stories like nobody that I know, right? You got like 20 stories a day, but it gives a really interesting glimpse into your day-to-day activities. You're like working on lead stuff, you're coaching people, you're showing properties, you're like driving your fast car around because you're the fast agent, right? Like it's super on brand. Talk a little bit about how do you fit that in to the day?
I mean, just documenting my day, right? But like, I'll give you an example. Every morning I wake up, obviously the routine, but then I sign up for really cool emails, daily emails, like through hustle.com, through Morning Brew,
Yeah.
through trends, through whatever it might be, right? So there's always something to post about, and it's, to be a well-rounded person, or at least a well-rounded IG person, so where you're interested to follow, you should have a good, at least a touch of lots of different topics. Whether it's, I don't know, I can't remember like right now, but because today there wasn't much topics going on because it was Easter, but it could be like, I don't know, maybe Hydro Flask is IPOing, or other companies are doing this, or certain tech companies are doing something pretty innovative. Like, oh, like I don't really care for this as much, but Pinterest is buying VRSO, whatever,
Yeah,
VRCO,
yeah.
but
Oh, VRCO,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, VRCO.
but I'm not, if I was interested in stuff, I'll post. But you're always like constantly providing an update about what's going on in the world. Like be someone's news source, but then don't just do that. Also give your commentary on it. So throughout the day as I'm working, because I'm in tune with lots of different things. Again, I do a lot of recruiting, so I keep up to date with what's going on with every other real estate company. So I'm able to get feedback on that and other. So most of my following, I have over I think 10,500 followers now. Most of my followers, all organic. Most of my followers, I'd say 85% plus are other real estate agents. So they come as like a daily news source, because not everyone subscribes to Inman. They should, but maybe they don't want to pay money for Inman,
Right.
or they track this and read that and read this. So like it's constantly just keeping people up to date on what's going on in the world. And then also, like, I mean, last week I actually recruited 4 agents directly to my front line, which is a really big deal at EXP Realty. But it's also like always making people question with their company, showing people the different models, what some benefits are of this model versus that model, and if you work here, this is the production we're doing. We're using these tools. We're leading this. This is our weekly stats on how much production we're doing. This is what this office is doing. So constantly just giving that information, but although I'm biased, obviously, because I like my company, I try to be very transparent of all the data out there. Like I love just showing information, and if people can do it with it what they wish.
Yeah, and I think that's really impressive, and it's a good lesson for people is that you are super transparent. I mean, you show production numbers, you show stuff, really directly a lot of times. And I think that's because, like you said, you've got nothing to hide. This stuff works. You believe in what you're doing, right? And these are systems that can work for other people as well. All right, so now you've got your social media going. You're doing this throughout the day. You've got a lot of meetings. How does Kenny kind of wrap up his day? Are you working until you drop, or what does the end of your day look like?
Typically about 8 o'clock, I wrap up. Have dinner with my girlfriend. I usually get in bed about 10:30 to 11. What's really important to me at the end of the day is like be able like I used to work much later up until maybe this year where we're trying to get that balance. Like I only this year I started waking up at 6:30. Before it was like 7:30. But now my team members are up. I need to be up before them, and then I realize there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done. So I work a pretty strong 14, 15-hour day, like just straight through it. Typically take a small nap in there. But I have a cutoff time, usually by 8 or 9. It depends on like what time dinner is and such.
Yeah.
And I try to, and I realize like if you can it's not a good way of thinking, but if I in my day later, I don't really have that much time to waste. Like I don't have that much time to watch TV. I try to maybe watch like an hour or something just while I'm having dinner. But then by the end of the night, we're done and we're getting ready. So throughout the week, we're pretty structured, very minimal waste of time. But on weekends, I mostly don't work weekends. Yeah, I actually have most of my Saturdays and Sundays off. But I also travel a lot, so that's a little different when you're traveling because it's kind of I like working and being on vacation at the same time.
Yeah. Interesting. You like working and being on vacation at the same time. Elaborate on that.
I mean that my dream job would just be work remotely. Like I went to let me see, I went out to San Diego 2 weeks ago for a couple of days. Was in Mexico for a week in March. Went to Tahoe for like 4 days in February, and then in this April right now, I'm gonna be in Cabo for a mastermind event for EXP, but in Cabo for 1 week, and then in May going to Vegas for 4 days, and then going to 2-day mastermind on recruiting agent productivity, and then June doing a full week in Bahamas. Mm-hmm. So like I love working and being on the beach and hanging out, but also getting stuff done. Usually it's pretty cool too. You can if you're a couple hours ahead, you get everything done by I don't know 3 o'clock over there. Or actually, no, even earlier. You probably get everything done by like I don't know 1 or 2 o'clock over there, and you can do what you want for the rest of the day. Because like right now, where I'm really happy where I am in my business because then almost nothing's ever like a priority or a rush because I'm not doing stuff that's client facing. Everything I do moves the needle in my business, and I just do whatever I feel like. If someone wants to talk about their business this week, then great. I'll put them on and have a half-hour call and go back to sipping a Tito soda on the beach and then go on with my day and so on. So I think it's kind of like the dream job to be able to work remotely, but now you can do it in different destinations versus and people are kind of there already, right? They're doing Airbnbs out here. And then with our career as a business owner, I can go away for a week and like nothing burns down because I also have a really strong leadership team. I have a director of operations in one position, an executive director / broker compliance person that handles all my contracts and negotiating and addendums and helps the agent. She's available 9 to 5, like every single day. She has a Zoom room open, people go in with the contract questions. And then I have a director of sales and coaching that handles Monday, Wednesday, Friday role play and then hops on these meetings, does a lot of one-on-one training. He leads our sales meeting. And then he does group coaching on Friday nights now. We just launched that last week. And then I have onboarding specialist / marketing person, and then I have like creative director. So the company, if I were to like leave my company tomorrow, it will still run completely fine without me. And that's kind of how people need to like realize when you're building a business, you actually need to. I've heard this many times. You need to take more vacations so the business can learn to run without you. Because you might be actually holding up like trying to micromanage everything. So through my 10 years of conferences, going to Inman and Tom Ferry, I travel about a third of the year before when we could to conferences. And so my business always kind of run, and I was pretty good remotely. But now like I can just go 100% remote for a week. Like it's pretty cool that things are so happening.
It is. Kenny, I'm glad you made that point because this is something that I think a lot of people don't understand or miss is that you need that separation once you've built a team, and you have at least some level of confidence, not even full confidence. You need to step away. You need to allow them to step up because you're right. A lot of times you're getting in the way. A lot of times their ideas are better than your ideas. And I deal with this every day at work, right? And they need to be empowered to be able to step up. So that distance, I think, is really important. I love that. That's great. Look, Kenny, I mean, this conversation was no surprise to me, right? You are go, go, go. People are booking slots on your calendar. You're like, what am I doing next? I'm coaching this. I'm doing role playing this, right? Like, that's how you work. That's why you're the fast agent, right, buddy?
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Kenny, so you're going to bed around 10:30, 11, and then you wake up and you start over, right? I mean, that's it. That's a day in the life of Kenny Fast, isn't it? Kenny the Fast
Yeah,
Agent.
they just do whatever my calendar tells me to do, and then every quarter we have learning from Dan Beer like rocks. Like so every quarter we're trying to achieve something, and then like the whole quarter needs to focus on that. So before this month we have 4 offices: Oakland, Sacramento, Walnut Creek, and then now this next quarter everything I'm doing is specific to trying to get these offices. I don't care about anything else. Like my goal as a team leader is really simple: recruit, open office, and we
Yeah.
have leads coming in, so that's his own thing. But we had to go to open a Brentwood office, which we just did. Spent like $80,000 on this place. It looks sick. It's going to be the best looking office in East Contra Costa. And then we're finalizing at the end of the lease to do a 5-year lease in the city of Hercules, which also has a ton of new construction, 2,000 square feet, and then we should be getting into another 2,200 square feet or so office in the city of Hayward, California. And then I'm closing on my house that I'm going to be using as an office in Fruitvale, about 2,200 square feet, because these are big hubs, right? It's not just co-working
Yes.
space. In Oakland, and then we have a co-working space coming in Concord. So this next quarter, from April to June, April to June, just want to my only goal is to get all these offices open and running and continue to bring more agents in, and then everything will also fall into place. Currently, it's been crazy because 2 years ago we did $56 million in business, pretty decent. Last year we closed the year about 188 deals or so at 127 million. And this year, right now, we've already closed $97 million in business in the first, no,
Wow.
sorry, 96 million first quarter, and we have about 71 million pending. So and I think like 261 deals. So we're actually tracking to my goal is to do 600 million this year, and everything looks like it. I mean, last we spoke, probably told you 400 million. It was like late September, and in December, it was
Yeah.
500. Now 600. I like setting goals too as a business owner agent, setting goals that I think I could hit, but maybe not. So when you set to go too big, you don't have a benchmark, and it just looks so far away. But you set something
Yeah.
too easy. So 600 is the number we're aiming for, and that should put us in the top 5 California team. But at this pace, doing already like 70 million pending in this month, and half our agents haven't sold the house yet. Next year my goal is to do $1 billion, and everything right now is looking good towards $1 billion. But now, like I calculated the numbers yesterday on Instagram. I was like, I think we're actually tracking for $1.6 billion in sales, which is
Oof.
pretty freaking insane. Because then, right, I haven't opened up my next 5 offices. Half the agents haven't sold anything, and then we're just bringing people in. Because at this time, like it sounds crazy, but like I'm not really. I have a team, but we're not really competing against teams at this point. We're competing against entire offices, right, with 100 something people
Yeah.
across a couple of locations. And then like the long term vision after this set, we tell people, okay, after this, I'm getting an M4 competition just for fun, at least. And then like after that, take a break, like a week break, just chill out, and then look at what it looks like to get in San Jose, Peninsula, San Francisco, Vacaville, Benicia, and
Yep.
other locations. At least do we look at the rental or do we look at buying? Because then my long-term vision, which I post about pretty frequently on Instagram, is after we get this done, because these offices that we're getting to, if you understand the ESP model with the revenue share, not only are these offices, the large ones, supporting my team, my indie agents, I can also bring in complete solo 100% non-team fast real estate where they come in. I could potentially make $3,000 each on each agent. So my long-term goal, probably starting next year, is to, wouldn't it be cool to buy a building? Doesn't have to be a big one, but buy like 1,000, 2,000 square feet building in every single city in the Bay Area, and then every single city in the Bay Area can our agents at ESP Realty under my organization, my network, can all drop into each office and use any of them, and then they
That's
can also use
cool.
these offices. Maybe they can, gotta be careful with insurance and liability and stuff. So like at least right now, these big offices will be like I can hold events, client appreciation parties, alumni, baby showers, birthdays, just social gatherings, and then help the agents get more business and get more agents for myself. But if I had, okay, we use a thing called NextKey. It's a newer product, works really well. It's no reviews on it, but NEXKEY. It's like a Bluetooth system for your phone where
Oh
you,
yeah, we have that too. We have it in one of our offices. We have Next Key. Yeah.
yeah. So it wouldn't be cool if any agent in my network can go to any office in any city in the Bay Area and so on. Because right now, what many other companies, it doesn't matter what color your company is, black, red, blue, green, whatever, you probably can only use that office or maybe the other one.
Yeah.
Maybe two, right, in our area. But because every office has a different owner and different company, different brand. Well, wouldn't it be cool if you were in Kenny's network and you also could buy the building with Kenny, and then Team Fast will write a huge rent check out where it's actually profitable. But now you're also investing in the commercial
I
space.
love that.
And then now we have hubs to attract agents to our teams. Anyone that doesn't have my team can use these spaces. So long-term vision wouldn't be cool if we had like 20, 30 offices within the next couple of years. Pretty much like a true regional owner would just have the entire market. And it's so cheap to be here, or there's enough value that everyone want to come join my team.
I love it.
Because office does matter. People, I think it's so important to do when everyone's doing one thing, which is shutting down offices, that you're doing something, which is open office. It's not even doubling down. It's just because people are retracting and you're showing up. It looks like it's doubling down because you're the most visible. So like as we keep pushing, and other offices are closing, it's just making a lot more people considered by our team because we're doing something way different.
Absolutely. Man, it's hard to keep up with you, Kenny. That is a massive vision. I think it's a really smart idea. And I always like the idea of doing what other people are not doing. It's usually the best place to be. So I think that's really smart. Kenny, thanks for coming on today and talking about a day in the life. And it's so funny. You're so good at your brand that I know your name is Kenny Truong, but in my mind, your name is Kenny Fast. Like every time I'm like, hey, Kenny Fast, welcome back to the show. I think you should consider changing your name.
I had the legal doing paperwork because in case the DRE, they're kind of iffy with the last name stuff. So we did DBA fast. If something happens, I actually have the paperwork ready. I just got to send it in, and I might just change my last name and move my last name to my middle. So
that's right.
I don't get flagged.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. All right, Kenny, thanks for coming on the show. We'll talk to you again real soon.
You're right. All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching today. I think that was really eye-opening. It was really enlightening. Kenny lives up to his name, right? This guy is everywhere all the time, and it's insane, and it's so impressive, and he's on social media, and he's booking meetings, but he's created a lot of efficiencies. And what you can see with Kenny is that he's got a massive vision for the future, and he's put in place the teams and the leadership and the process. He's a business owner like all of us. We're all agentpreneurs, and this is really important stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please, again, consider subscribing while you're here and clicking that little bell. And until tomorrow, be safe, be healthy, be happy. We'll see you soon.